Hello my lovely scholars, welcome back. Welcome to the channel again. Today we're looking at arranging fractions in descending order. There's a twin video to this, arranging fractions in ascending order. So you can check that one out. To descend means to go down, to get less. So to descend means to go down or get less. To arrange fractions in descending order, we must first give them a common denominator. And then we arrange them from the biggest to the least, because it's descending, it's going down. So the first one we put in the list must be the biggest, then the next, and we end with the least. So we have to put them over a common denominator. Now if you're given a set of fractions like these that have the same numerator, which is 1, you can actually go straight ahead and compare them. But the catch is, if they all have a numerator of 1, the one with the biggest denominator is actually the smallest fraction. Because what it would mean is, if you have the same thing that you're sharing up, if you cut it into 50 pieces, each of those pieces would be smaller than if you just cut it into 3 pieces. Then those pieces would be bigger. That's the comparison. So the fraction that has the biggest denominator, if all the numerators are 1, that fraction is the smallest, and the one with the smallest denominator actually turns out to be the biggest fraction. So we can go ahead. It's descending order, so we know the biggest one is 1/3. Okay, followed by 1/6, followed by 1/12, followed by 1/50. So it actually was already in descending order, right? It actually was already in descending order. So let's go now and compare these sets, this set. Alright, so we need to find the LCM of 3, 8, and 12, which is 24. 3 goes into 24 8 times, 2 times 8, 16. 8 goes into 24 3 times, 1 times 3, 3. And 12 goes into 24 2 times, 6 twos are 12. So we have created a group of equivalent fractions. And now we can compare them, because these fractions are all over 24, the same denominator. So 16/24 is equivalent to 2/3, 3/24 is equivalent to 1/8, and 12/24 is equivalent to 6/12. Looking at them now, we can see that the biggest fraction is the 6/24, which is 2/3. Next in line is the 12/24, which is the 6/12, and the smallest is the 3/24, or the 1/8. So when we're listing them, we list the original fractions that we were given, not the equivalent ones that we created. We created the equivalent ones so we could do the comparison. But when it's time to list them in descending order, we have to go back to the original ones to list those. Alright, so let's compare these. We need to find the LCM of 11 and 5, which is 55. 11 goes into 55 5 times, 9 5s are 45. 5 goes into 55 11 times. 1 times 11 is 11. 11 goes into 55 5 times, 4 5s are 20. So now we need to put the equivalent, the original fractions, not the equivalent ones, into the descending order from the biggest to the least. So the biggest one is the 45/55, which is the 9/11, followed by the 20/55, which is the 4/11, followed by the 11/55, which is the 1/5. So when we're listing, we go back to the original fractions. We just use the equivalent ones to compare. Alright, so the LCM of 10, 2, and 5 would be 10. 10 goes into itself once, 7, 1, 7. 2 goes into 10 5 times, 1, 5, 5. And 5 goes into 10 twice, 4 2 is 8. Alright, so those are the equivalent fractions to these original ones. This is equivalent to that, this is equivalent to that, this is equivalent to that. We can compare them now, they're all over 10. So the biggest would be the 8 over 10, which is 4/5, followed by the 7 over 10, which is 7/10, followed by the 5 over 10, which is a half. Alright, so that's it in descending order from the biggest to the least. Here, the LCM is 16. And remember, there's a video that we did on finding the LCM. So if you don't yet know how to find the LCM, you should probably watch that video first and then come on back over here. Alright, because you have to master certain steps before you can go on to the others, right? So that video was already done, you can go and check it out. 8 goes into 16 2 times, 3 2 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times, 1 4 4. 16 goes into itself once, and 7 ones are 7. From these equivalent fractions, equivalent to the original fractions, we see that the biggest one is the 7/16, followed by the 6/16, which is equivalent to the 3/8, followed by the 4/16, which is equivalent to the quarter. So in descending order from greatest to least, this is how we arrange them. Now, these are all over 13. So our life is easy at this point. We just have to compare the numerators. The biggest numerator is the biggest fraction. So the 6/13 is the biggest, followed by the 3/13, followed by the 1/13. Alright, so we're good to go. We just have 3 more. Okay. The LCM of 18, 3, and 6 is 18. 18 goes into itself once. 4 times 1 gives 4. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 2 times 6 gives 12. 6 goes into 18 3 times. 5 3s are 15. By comparison, we see that the 15 over 18 is the biggest one. So that's the 5/6, followed by the 12 over 18, which is the 2/3. Remember, we write the original fractions, not the equivalent ones. And the 4/18 is the smallest, because they ask for it in descending order, from biggest to smallest. So let's go now. The LCM of 7, 3, and 21 is 21. 7 goes into 21 3 times. 6 3s are 18. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 1 times 7 is 7. 21 goes into itself once. 20 times 1, 20. So by comparison, we see that the 20 over 21 is the biggest fraction of this lot, followed by the 18 over 21, which is the 6/7, followed by the 7 over 21, which is the 1/3. Okay, so we're going well. All right, now what's the LCM of 7, 12, 35, and 3? Do we need to find the LCM? No, we don't. Remember what we said? When they all have ones in the numerator, we can compare the denominator, and the biggest denominator represents the smallest fraction when they all have 1 in the numerator. So we can immediately see this is the smallest fraction, this is the largest fraction. And since we're asked to arrange them in descending order, we're going to start with the largest one, which is 1/3, followed by 1/7, followed by 1/12, and the smallest, the tiniest of this lot is the 1/35th. To some, it would look like it should be the biggest, right? Because it has a big number here, 35. But we know by now that's not how fractions work. Especially those fractions that have ones in the numerator. The bigger the denominator, actually, the smaller the fraction is. So to recap, to descend means to go down or to get less. To arrange fractions in descending order, we must first give them a common denominator. So what we're really doing, we're creating equivalent fractions, right? So we're saying, so 2/3 is equivalent to 16/24. 1/8 is equivalent to 3/24. 6/12 is equivalent to 12/24, and so on. When we have them with the same denominator, that's when we go now and compare the numerators to see which is the biggest, which is the smallest. And since we were asked to place them in descending order, we start with the biggest and we go down to the smallest. Alright, so that's it for arranging fractions in descending order. I really hope you were helped by this, and if you were, please just drop a comment to say thank you, miss. And please share the video with your friends, your classmates, your neighbors, your parents, everybody, so that we all can learn how to do math. Many people are afraid of math. Too many people are afraid of math. And we need to one by one break down that fear, dissipate it, so that people understand that math is wonderful, math is fun, math is enjoyable, it's beautiful. Alright, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed as yet. And also let me know if there are particular videos that you'd like me to do, particular topics you'd like me to do videos on. If it's not already listed in the catalog, I will surely do a video on that topic and add it to our catalog as we go along. Thanks for sharing your time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.